What's up, YouTube family? T Banks here, again with another episode of the Athlete's Corner. It's always a pleasure having you guys on here, learning some new things. Definitely appreciate you guys commenting below and making sure that we're keeping this a TB Fit community. So it's a pleasure having you back for another episode. This one we're going to focus a little bit on core, so let's get right into it. In the last couple videos, we kind of touched on stability and how the importance of stability and making sure that you're strong enough to handle heavy loads, how that's important to really any athlete, and just kind of general functionality and being able to move well and produce movement from a strong, safe position. So stability is key, and we kind of focused on that in terms of squatting and jumping and that. Now I kind of want to take a step back and think about what stability means from, where it kind of originates from, right? And so we all know that is the core, right? So the core, everybody thinks about, the core pack, right? Your flexor, rectus abdominal muscles. Everybody wants to think crunch, 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 flex, flex, flex for core. But really and truly, when it comes to stability, it encompasses more than just that one kind of movement pattern, right? So the core is this whole belt around your body, that whole belt. And so that involves different kind of patterns, not just flexing, but we got the side to side, we got extension, we got rotation. There's a lot going on there, okay? So it's important for that core to be strong and stable along each of those planes of motion, because whenever you're kind of absorbing a force or trying to start a force, so say, I don't know, anything, a chest pass, I guess, you're starting, it's not just chest, it's not just push, it starts from within, it starts from the core. If you're catching that ball, you're catching that pass, absorb. The core has to be strong enough for you not to wobble all around, right? So the core functions, not only as a starting point for force, but actually really more importantly, being able to kind of absorb and translate those forces effectively into your limbs. Like I mentioned, the rectus abdominis is usually those four pack kind of muscles that people think about for flexing. But I just want to remind you guys or inform you guys of some of the other muscles that are involved in core movement and core force production. And so one that's often neglected is actually called the transverse abdominis, okay? So the TVA, the transverse abdominis. That actually is a kind of a breathing, pulling in type of muscle. So what it does, it draws your stomach in. So somebody that doesn't really have a strong transverse abdominis, you can actually see that functionally in them, like when they're standing up. So I'm gonna stand to the side here and demonstrate what I mean. So somebody that actually has that problem typically has overactive maybe flexor muscles and hip flexor and which causes them to actually kind of hump over into this lordotic kind of curve in their back. So you see people that kind of walk like that, right? And they have this big belly, try to push on my belly. So they have this kind of big belly and they may walk like that. They may have a strong, nice upper kind of rectus abdominis core, but they're not able to pull that in. They're not able to really use those deeper breathing, more stability core muscles to function. And so it's important for you to be able to be in this position here and not like that. Okay, and so that's your transverse abdominis muscle. I think that's one of the more important ones. Your multifidi, you don't really see. They're smaller muscles, deeper, connect to your actual spine. So they actually help stabilize and keep the spine in place. So it's really those smaller muscles that attach to the specific disc on your spine. So nobody really thinks about working those. They're just kind of for stability. And then we also have the obliques, internal obliques, the external obliques. We have the erector spinae, right? So muscles up your back that extend your back. Those are also muscles as well. And so those are just a few. I might be missing a couple, but like a few of the muscles that are, and also your obliques, right? Those are some of the muscles all the muscles that really help stabilize your core. okay? So just want to kind of point that out as well so you guys can understand the importance of total, complete core training. I want to give you guys some specific exercises that you can do to target all the different parts of your core. Okay, so the first one, we'll do the first few on the mat and then stand up and show you guys some of the other ones. So the first one, we'll start with flexion. Okay, so the first thing that we'll do is jackknives. I like jackknives because you don't just get the flexion, you kind of get a little bit of that kind of stability and kind of some of that drawing in of your core as well from just that bracing action. Okay, so let's show you what I'm talking about. So we're down and we're just raising up and touching. So you gotta make sure that your back is not too arched. You gotta make sure you're nice and braced, your hips in position so you can go up smoothly and straight. Touch and come down, okay? Touch and come down. So I guess start back here, or if you want, you can start here. Okay, but the longer you are, when you start from a longer position, it's always harder. Okay, longer levers, okay? So that's called a jackknife, and that's focused on a little bit of flexion. When we talked about the hip coming from here to coming in, pulling it forward, drawing in your abs, right? So your abs kind of create like a corset around your midsection, right? So a corset that gives you a nice flat belly, a nice clean look, okay? So we can work on that with specific exercises. I like doing a crocodile crawl, okay? The crocodile crawl is just boom, boom, okay? So you go forward, you go backward, but the goal is to like not have your hips all up in the air. You want to be nice and low to the ground, make it hard. You want to dig and grind while your core is braced. Always kind of exhale, breathe in to lock in that braced position, activating your transverse abdominals, right? So you can think here, we're here, and then just reach, 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 okay? Play around with your feet position, how wide you are with your feet, how wide you are with your hands. It's just, it's one of those fun kind of animal style movements. You kind of play with it and make it a little fun for you, okay? So that's the crocodile crawl. Anti-rotational core strength. So we're gonna use our cable machine here to work on that movement. We're gonna grab hold of it, pull it out. You can hold it there or you can kind of come back and forth with a nice neutral spine, good position. Or like I said, you can hold it here. You're resisting this rotation, right? So the cable wants to pull me back. I'm trying to resist that by fighting my opposite side. Those obliques again come into factor to fight this force that's pulling me back, okay? So that's anti-rotation for we're using a heavy kettlebell, all right? Holding on tight to it and making sure your shoulders are not forward. You wanna make sure those shoulders are nice pat down in your socket, right? With a nice active lat to create good posture and good stability on that side that's holding the kettlebell. This is called a suitcase carry. So all you're doing is holding the heavy kettlebell on one side and making sure that you're not holding it with the weight pulling you down on that side. You want to fight on that opposite side, fight that anti-lateral flexion, right? So lateral flexion is that active kind of oblique work. If you're crunching that way, doing a Russian forward twist or like a wood chopper, that's active. But we're trying to work on anti-lateral flexion. You're kind of trying to stop that force. So it's a different way of thinking about it, right? So not here, but brace, lock in that transverse abdominis, neutral core, neutral spine, creates a nice strong core. And this is what's working. I'm touching here and it feels rock hard, okay? So all we're doing is either holding it or carrying it like a suitcase carry, walking around, okay? You can see me in the screen. You can just walk like down 25 meters and walk back another 25 meters without leaning. You want to stay tall, keep the shoulder back, walk like kind of like you're like a soldier, okay? So stay nice and tall with that one. hop up here and work on a little bit of flexion, just in a little bit of a harder way, okay? And also for bracing, again, we're gonna transverse abdominis. There's a lot going on here, but let me show you guys what I'm talking about here. So we're gonna hop up, jump, or you can get a box and step on the box first. You can either do leg raises, right, without swinging. Swinging means your core is not locked in, you're not braced. So lock in. Raise it up and down if you want. Okay, go side to side. Get that lateral flexion. Okay, so that kind of lateral flexion is more, that's not anti, that's actually targeted on that muscle that we're working. So we're focusing on it in a active way. All right, that's all I have for you guys today. Thanks again for following another episode of The Athlete's Corner. That one particularly was on understanding your core. Definitely comment below, interact with each other. I like to, again, keep this a community, so feel free to comment and ask questions. And let's keep this live, all right? This is YouTube. Let's be live. Let's be fun. It's not just about me lecturing at you. It's about us learning together and us having that interaction. So let's make sure we're doing that as well. So that's all I have for you. Be well. TB out.
Good because you getting money and the roof is gone predictable. Heard it all before, need to find some different shit to do. And no, I would not judge you for the music that you listen to. It ain't even about that, really, it's about the principle. Make sure you get to know me before feeling all my